Welcome to PlantRight 101 for Retail Nursery Partners. In this video, we will go over what is PlantRight, why choose non-invasive plants, why are nurseries partnering with PlantRight, and how does this affect you? First of all, what is PlantRight? PlantRight is a program of Plant California Alliance, an association of professionals who bring plants and landscape supplies to Californians and the world. They are devoted to promoting and protecting the California nursery industry. In 2019, Plant California Alliance became the new home for PlantRight. The program had previously been housed at the environmental nonprofit Sustainable Conservation. As longtime partners in the PlantRight effort, and as advocates for California's nursery industry, Plant California Alliance was a natural fit to be PlantRight's new home. PlantRight's mission is to promote the use of non-invasive plants in California gardens and landscapes. We are working across the nursery industry supply chain in a collaborative and voluntary fashion to discourage the use of invasive plants and promote the use of safer, non-invasive alternatives. The PlantRight project was started in 2005 by a diverse collaboration of leaders from the nursery trade, nonprofits and environmental groups, government agencies, and the plant science and academic communities. Together, this group acts as PlantRight's steering committee, ensuring the development of a practical program that allows everyone's voice to be heard while creating realistic, actionable solutions. PlantRight approaches the ongoing use of invasive plants in a fashion that is collaborative, voluntary, and science-based. So, what are we talking about regarding invasive plants? By definition, invasive plants are foreign to a region. Although it is worth noting that not all foreign plants are invasive. Invasive plants also spread on their own, and they do not need extra irrigation, soil amendments, or any other intervention from humans to survive. Because they spread on their own, often into areas where they are unwanted, invasive plants can cause measurable damage, whether financial, environmental, and/or to human health. So why does choosing non-invasive plants matter? When invasive plants are introduced to a landscape, they tend to crowd out the existing plant communities and affect the wildlife that depended on them for survival. In the background photo, we can see highway ice plant, Harpobrotus edulis, taking over a coastal dune. Infestations such as these require a lot of time and expense to remove. Invasive plants, especially invasive grasses, can also contribute to the increased intensity and frequency of wildfires, such as we have been experiencing each summer. These wildfires are a risk to human health as well as financial and environmental security. Aquatic invasive plants are another costly problem. They can completely clog waterways. For example, dense mats of water hyacinth, Eichhornia crassipes, can stand in the way of commercial and recreational boating, as well as deprive other aquatic life of crucial sunlight and nutrients. In the bottom photo, you can see pampas grass, Cordaderia celoana, invading a crop field. This shows that invasive plants are not only a conservation issue, but also an agricultural one. The presence of these invasive plants often result in negative impacts to environmental balance, financial security, and human safety and well-being. So what traits do invasive plants have in common? Abundant and broad germination, or a lot of seeds that easily spread far and wide. Rapid establishment and growth, You know the phrase, "they're growing like a weed"? That is what this is referring to. They also outcompete native plants for resources such as water, nutrients, and sunlight. Invasive plants also tolerate many different soil types and weather conditions, including extremely harsh ones. They also have superior resistance to local pests and diseases. Here's an example of an invasive plant you might be familiar with: pampas grass. What we are looking at in this photo is not an invasion site. Instead, we are looking at the growing grounds of a wholesale plant nursery in the Central Valley of California. This is often the source of a new invasion. Here we are seeing that plant further down the supply chain at a retail store. According to PlantRight's 2017 statewide survey, pampas grass was for sale at 4% of all retail nurseries in California. You can imagine someone unaware of this plant's invasiveness, purchasing it, planting it in their yard, and it taking off. Pampas grass's feathery plumes have even become a trending wedding decoration. However, that beautiful feathery plume is also a large part of why this plant is such a prolific invasive species. Each plume contains around 10,000 seeds, and the seeds can travel up to 2 miles in the wind. This allows pampas grass to spread to neighboring hillsides, and then to cover and take over surrounding natural areas. This is problematic because pampas grass plants are very flammable. They do not provide good habitat or forage for wildlife, and like many invasive plants, they are difficult and expensive to remove. Already, pampas grass is widespread in California, covering regions of the Central Valley, Bay Area, and South Coast. And it is expected to continue spreading. While it is still legal to sell plants like pampas grass, one can say it's not on a regulatory list and we still have the right to keep selling it. But if we do that, we're going to get even more pampas grass and the negative impacts that come with it. Since pampas grass does not meet the requirements of a regulatory list, it is up to voluntary efforts, like yours and mine, to stop it in its track. But let's pause here for a second. Has anyone ever asked you, where can I buy invasive plants? Or which invasive plant will be best in my yard? Probably not. So then, why is it that invasive plants are still being sold today? What we have learned is that this is often driven by a lack of awareness about which plants are locally invasive, and when these plants are sold, it sends a signal up the supply chain to grow more of that same plant. In 2003, a study at the University of California's Cooperative Extension revealed that almost half of the invasive plants in our state were brought here as ornamental plants through the horticultural supply chain. While one might want to point fingers at the nursery trade for this, some plants like pampas grass were introduced over 100 years ago, before their invasive tendencies were known. If we are going to address this issue in a meaningful way going forward, you can see that it is vital that gardeners, landscaping professionals, and the nursery industry all be part of the solution. It's this kind of engagement with the nursery industry, such as building awareness and shifting demand toward regionally appropriate, non-invasive plants, that PlantRight is working to accomplish in its collaboration with landscaping professionals, avid gardeners, and those in the nursery trade. Having nurseries partner with PlantRight was conceived as a way to acknowledge nurseries that sell only locally non-invasive plants and assist other stores in their transition to these practices. For nurseries, this does not mean selling less plants, but selling more of the right plants for the right places. Fortunately, most plants are not invasive to begin with. To get involved, stores agree to sell only plants that are locally non-invasive as prescribed by PlantRight's list. They also have their staff and buyers complete the PlantRight 101 training, and they share this commitment with others. In return, stores receive numerous benefits. First, they receive increased expertise on this critical issue and specific knowledge on California's most invasive garden plants. PlantRight also offers a list of thoughtfully selected alternatives for invasive plants on our list. These plants are chosen as best matches based on a plant's color, size, and function. We have also considered the cost, availability, and maintenance needs of these plants. In addition, PlantRight also publicly recognizes and celebrates its nursery partners. First, we list you in our online directory, and we also love to share about partner news and events on social media and in our quarterly newsletter. The good news is that consumers and businesses are also better off using non-invasive plants. The benefits include reduced labor, as these plants can be very difficult to get rid of, even after cutting them back, applying herbicides, or digging them out of the ground. Using non-invasive plants also helps keep California's natural areas both beautiful and functional. This is something that benefits us through greater presence of wildlife, ecosystem services like air and water filtration, and recreational opportunities. Also, by taking a stance on invasive plants, you can stay ahead of consumer trends and share new insights for choosing regionally appropriate alternatives. This is another way to showcase yourself as sustainable and help your community phase out invasive plants. When we step back and look at the big picture, we see numerous benefits for our nursery partners. By partnering with PlantRight, you can stay ahead of consumer trends, provide higher quality plants, show your community that you care, and send a signal up the supply chain to grow less of the invasive plant species that you no longer are choosing to order. Nurseries and landscape professionals like you are looked to as trusted experts, helping transform garden and outdoor living spaces into areas that provide countless benefits like beauty, sanctuary, habitat, and sustenance. As a PlantRight supporter, we appreciate you sharing your influence to promote the use of only non-invasive plants. Participation in this effort is easy. We simply ask that you choose non-invasive plants for your region and help spread the word about our program. Because California is home to diverse climates and ecosystems, we understand that choosing non-invasive species is not always simple. On our website, PlantRight offers detailed recommendations to help guide your plant choices, along with materials to share this information with others in your network. For more information on these materials and the PlantRight program, please visit us at plantright.org. In conclusion, invasive plants damage California's natural areas and impact real people. Together, we can prevent the spread of invasive plants in California. Thank you for joining us in this effort.